This is an ABC News Yahoo News special live stream after the 2013 presidential inauguration. Now, from Washington, here's ABC's Dan Kleffler.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Dan Kleffler in Washington, D.C., where the city is getting back to work, including the president himself, starting his second term in office after yesterday's ceremonial swearing in on the steps of the Capitol. About 1 million people were on the Mall there to hear the president take the oath, make a historic address, and be a part of history. And we have 2 minutes for you, the big moments from start to finish.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Barack H. Obama.
Mr. Vice President, please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear. What makes us exceptional? What makes us American is our allegiance to an idea articulated in a declaration made more than 2 centuries ago. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Thank you so much.
My better half and my dance partner.
I'm so in love with you.
A day and an evening not to be forgotten. As we said, about 1 million people on the Mall yesterday. Less than the 1.8 in 2009, but still more than what the Parks Department had been anticipating, about 600 to 800,000 out there, exceeding those numbers. The oath administered by Chief Justice John Roberts. It was the ceremonial oath yesterday. Sunday, it was in front of the family and a small gathering there. That is where the official oath was recited. And a bit of a deja vu moment, a slight stumble. Remember back in 2009, John Roberts, he made a slight stumble, and the president had followed suit as well, forcing him to recite it a second time. Yesterday, it was the president making a slight slip. Instead of saying United States, it was United State. No redo necessary. It's still official. It's in the books. But now the president has taken the oath 4 times, following Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was elected 4 times to office, but the president making up for a bit of a stumble along the way. I want to bring in senior Washington editor Rick Klein. And Rick, I want to talk a little bit about yesterday, because obviously there were so many momentous occasions during the speech, during the oath itself, and then, of course, during the parades. But overall, was this the kind of day that the president was expected to deliver?
This was a moment to pause. All of the partisan battles of the last few years, it all came to a stop for the ceremonial day, the day where we celebrate American democracy. For once, you didn't have people yelling at each other. And I think the president took advantage of that, because we saw a president who has been part of these battles so much over the last few years. He said, look, I'm willing to engage in it. This is what I want to do. There was almost no reference to the fact that the last couple of years have been pitched partisan warfare. This was about him saying and looking out at his army across the Mall and saying, these are the people that brought me here, and this is what I want to do. And I think it was remarkably upbeat, optimistic, given the times that we're in.
And you're funny that you mentioned the point about looking across the army of people that he had got him there. He did at one point, as he was leaving the steps of the Capitol, take a moment, turn back around and said, I want to look at this one last time. I'll never get to do this again. Of course, he will get to do it again in 4 years when all of the former presidents come back through. But certainly, I think the moment of the day caught him and also caught the First Lady as well. We've been hearing a lot that she was saying she was going to slow it down a little little bit. She was really going to take it all in. But I wanted to talk specifically about the speech yesterday because it seemed to be a combination not only of agenda points, but also there were some sweeping statements there that might have been reticent of JFK, possibly even Lincoln.
Well, this was a liberal call to arms, as far as I'm concerned, watching the speech. President Obama took a lot of heat in his first term for being a conciliator, seeming like he was negotiating with himself. He went out there and said, look, these are the things that I want to do, and I think I have the will of the people with me. He talked about climate change. He talked about gay marriage. He talked about protecting Medicare and Social Security, the liberal welfare state. You didn't hear this Obama out on the campaign trail, but he looked out on that crowd and the most important people in Washington. It's almost trite to say it, but it is that army of followers, because those are the folks that, if the president is successful in this, he will have changed American politics. He's never going to be on the ballot again.
Right.
But those people will still be voting. Those people that went and knocked on doors and were precinct chairmen and took their iPads out to get their friends and neighbors out to vote, those folks are going to be out there for a while. If he can channel that energy, then he can do big things on the order of an FDR or of JFK.
I can tell you, I was actually on the mall yesterday, right, pretty much like in the middle of the mall there. What I found very striking was that when he was making those specific points on policy, whether it be on Medicare, whether it be on gay rights, and also when he was making those moments of we the people in a reference to the Constitution, in both of those, both rhetorical statements and in those very poignant political statements, there was a huge eruption of cheers. I thought that was fascinating, the fact that, yes, you can get the crowd rallied up by some very flowery language, but they also seem to be rallied up and saying, hey, the next 4 years going forward, this is what we want to see accomplished.
They loved it, right?
Yeah.
They eat this up because they want to be put into action. If they went out there and worked as hard as they did for President Obama and then showed up on a cold day in Washington and got on a bus to get there, they want to do something big. So they're waiting for that call to arms. They're waiting for that call to action. The president this time, if he's successful, because they never were able to do it 4 years ago, if he can do it, it will be something the likes of which we've never seen before, and those people on the wall will be the frontline soldiers.
A powerful force indeed, and obviously a powerful speech yesterday, and I think a lot of people are going to be reacting to it. And now as Tuesday starts to roll into the afternoon, people are going to be getting back to work, and the president obviously going to be rolling up his sleeves and starting the second term as well. Rick, thank you so much. I want to bring in Phoebe Conley, our social media editor with Yahoo. She's looping in on everything that people were talking about yesterday. I mean, there was huge headlines, not only for the issues that were being discussed in the address and also during the ceremony, but there were some of those candid moments that people just had to tweet and talk about.
And everything Michelle was wearing.
Yeah. Well, the big moment, which is everyone. I think Jason Wu is now the hot one. All right. So what was everyone talking about? The biggest thing yesterday.
The big thing was really, I think, the fashion, how great both of the Obama girls looked. Early in the morning, we saw a lot of photos being passed around then and now. The girls back in 2009, the girls in 2013, just how much they'd grown up and really kind of come into their own.
And we're taking a look now at Jennifer Hudson serenading the president and the first lady at the Commander-in-Chief ball last night. And that was a moment, I think, after the president had introduced what he always refers to as his better half. And that was that stunning moment when the First Lady walked out in that red chiffon Jason Wu dress.
Yes.
Jason Wu himself
Yes.
was surprised by it, and he reacted.
He reacted. Not only that, in perfect Twitter fashion, he did it with a hashtag and a bunch of exclamation points.
What's crazy about that is that, it was 4 years ago, he was sitting around with some friends eating pizza, and totally surprised the fact that the First Lady had selected his dress.
So designers are not told in advance whether the First Lady will be wearing their fashion. So it's just as much of a surprise to the designer as it was to us when we saw her walk out.
That's amazing. And then obviously that drove a serious amount of traffic.
It did. It did. We saw a huge spike last night of people talking about her dress, asking questions about it, wanting to debate the color, the style, how it looked with her bangs. But overall, people were pretty positive about her dress.
The dress and the bangs still getting positive response?
Still getting positive response. You know what else is getting a lot of buzz?
What's up?
People want to know about getting that J. Crew belt for themselves.
Well, J. Crew, I think J. Crew now owns this town. I've spent a couple of days here, but having a little bit of fun, and I'm telling you, J. Crew has now taken over D.C. I think, in fact, they're probably going to open up maybe an annex to the White House to see if you can get some J. Crew tchotchkes over there. Mickey Drexler is going to be seeing what he can do for those marketing plans.
And you know what? They tweeted out that they were so proud to be a part of history yesterday.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And now, and the girls obviously, and the president at the parade as well. There were some candid moments that he had shared as well. He was watching. Take a look at some of the video here. Watching the parade there, chewing some gum.
Which Twitter immediately jumped on, and they said, is he chewing Nicorette gum? Is he chewing, tobacco cigarette replacement gum, and that was the big joke.
That was the speculation of whether or not that in fact was. It is interesting when you always see those kind of candid moments that, yeah, in fact, okay, he is the commander-in-chief, but at the same time, he chews gum just like the rest of us and enjoys a good parade, which got kicked off a little bit late yesterday. I mean, kind of the whole day's events was pushed back about 30 to 45 minutes, so, you know, everyone was kind of making those adjustments throughout the day. At one point, one of the daughters had yawned a little bit during the ceremony, which was great, like one of those candid moments where we say, as you pointed out before, that these girls were literally growing up in the past 4 years, but they were so protected, so shielded from social media over the past 4 years that when they kind of came out on the Capitol steps yesterday, everyone kind of paused and looked and said, wow, for the past 4 years, these are now young ladies that are entering into high school and really entering into a new phase of their lives.
Yes, and you know what everybody wants to see is what were those cell phone photos that they were snapping?
That, yeah, I know that was funny. I mean, yeah, Malia was trying to photobomb the president trying to steal a kiss from the first lady, and that was one of those candid, fun shots of that. All right, Phoebe, thank you so much. Obviously, we know that you'll continue to monitor the situation as it always is unfolding on social media because everyone's still talking about Jason Wu, the bangs, the big, hard-hitting issues that everyone wants to know about. Thank you so much, Phoebe. All right. Okay, of course, we're going to continue to follow the inauguration the day after as the president is rolling up his sleeves and getting to work here in D.C. Later this morning, the president will attend a prayer service, and of course, we'll be bringing that to you live. But for now, from Washington, D.C., from all of us here at ABC News and Yahoo, have a very good Tuesday.